Hi, welcome to Solutions for Seniors. I'm Linda Pellerin with the Shepherd Center of Charlotte. We're a nonprofit organization that works with seniors in the community, and our main focus is to keep them engaged and active, try to keep their minds working and everything. We do that through educational programs and classes and things like that. And one of the things we do with this program is we try to bring people in from the community to offer some advice and some ideas for seniors to help them get along, especially for those that are living alone and aren't living like in a senior community and everything. And our guest today is Officer Craig Allen, and he is with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, it is November, and we're getting into, well, actually probably a couple months ago we got into the shopping season, but for me anyway, November is the time when I start to go out and shop, and I thought it'd be a good idea to focus on some of the tips for seniors to stay safe during the holiday season. What do you think should be a primary concern of seniors?
Well, obviously, the personal safety is what we focus on a lot, because losing your belongings, that stuff can be replaced. But we want people not to look like a victim. Don't be a victim, and don't portray yourself as a victim. And you ask, how do you do that? Well, there's a lot of little steps, a lot of things that you can do ahead of time before you even go out shopping, for whether it's the holidays or not. This could be any time. Kind of plan your trips, kind of map out, at least in your mind, where you're going to go, how many stops you're going to make, and then try not to overburden yourself by doing too much at one time. Don't get it all in just a short amount of time. So think ahead and don't just rush right into the shopping season, so to speak. When you leave your house, there's some things that begins at home. How's your car parked, for instance? We do this all the time. You see police cars, we back into parking spaces. We back into our driveways. And that's just so we can get out easily. You're more in control of your car when you're pulling in someplace than you are when you're leaving. And so it's a good habit to get into, is the backing into spaces. Or if you can at a parking lot, you see two spaces that are open, you pull right through. So you're not even backing. I do that all the time. Everybody wants to fight for that front spot right up near the store, and that's okay. But there's a lot of good spots halfway out too, and that will aid in getting in and out pretty easily. Okay,
so. I always try to tell the seniors this too. It's probably a good idea to make sure you're looking around.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you come out of the store. It's a mindset, and like I said, don't be a victim, don't look like a victim. When you come out of the store, don't have your arms, your hands, and all kind of packages draped over yourself. Know where people are when you come out. You come out of the store, look around for a moment. Don't just rush right to your car. And again, this is good for anybody, not just seniors, but it's good for anybody that's out there, so they can share it with their family members as well. So when you do come out of the store, you got some packages in your hands. Stop for a moment and find your car. That way you're not wandering around the parking lot looking for it. That's how you look like a victim, because you're preoccupied on, all right, where's my car parked, and not watching the people that are watching you.
Parking decks are like my downfall, because I try to spot where I've parked and everything, but with a lot of seniors, well, with anybody really, especially during the holiday season, you got in your mind, okay, I need to get this, and this, and you pull into you find a spot, and you're like, oh great, I've got a spot, and then you walk away, and then you're like, what level was I on?
What level? What entrance? When you're coming out of stores, especially around malls, they all look the same. And when I used to work off duty at some of the malls in the past years, people would come up and want to report their car stolen. In fact, it was just parked, over there at this lot, not the one that they're looking in. So it does happen. Take the mental notes. Write it down on something. What level you're parked on, where you're parked, and then keep that in your purse or wallet or in your pocket. That way when you come out, you say, okay, I'm near store X, parked on level 2. Because a lot of times the parking lots aren't very well marked.
Right.
Or if there are, we don't really take note of it.
I know some of the parking decks uptown are a little bit better in that they've got their levels with colors on them, or they have like a certain animal or something, so that you can kind of think, oh well, you know, I'm on the floor with the giraffe.
It's not just a number. We got a lot of numbers running around our head, so anything that can draw attention, whether like you say the colors or something out of the ordinary.
Now, something I try to do when I'm going into a mall, if I don't go into the mall entrance and I go into an individual store. Let's just, you know, some of the big stores in the mall have several entrances.
Right.
So I always try to make sure that I say, you know, I look around and go, okay, I'm in menswear. Because then I know that I have to find the exit where the menswear is.
Absolutely.
As opposed to, you know, if I'm trying to go out and I see I've got women stuff around me, I'm like, I know that's not the right one. But I don't always remember that too, but
No,
I try to do that.
We get so preoccupied when we're running in for certain things that we don't just take those mental snapshots of where we're at. So it's always good to have a sheet of paper, a little notepad, and a pen just to jot down those little notes, because we do forget.
And you know, I guess we could also say to seniors, you know, if you have a smartphone or a cell phone and you know how to use it, many of them don't. I'm still learning on mine, but you know, you can maybe even put it into your cell phone. So then that way there, because sometimes you throw a little piece of paper in your for women, you throw it in your purse and you can't find it.
Right, you never find it when you need it, right?
Exactly, exactly. What should people do, especially women? What should they do if someone approaches them in a parking lot?
Well, first of all, hopefully you see them coming. They're not just going to surprise you. And that goes back to paying attention to what's going on around you. If someone does come up, just make the mental note of who else may be around. Are you at your car? Or, you know, at what point are you on your way to your car? Keep your keys in your hand, ready to get in your car, so you can get in quickly. You minimize your chance of being a victim. You minimize the opportunity of exposure. And again, if somebody does come up, just say, ask them before they come up to you. Say, hey, could I help you? Do you need something? You know, let them know that they've been seen and put on notice, and hopefully they'll turn away, or maybe they'll say, no, I don't need anything, I'm fine. But you know, just kind of play those psychological games with them, so to speak. But put them on notice that they've been seen and that you know they're there. So
it's better to make eye contact with them than not to.
I would.
Okay.
If nothing else, you're getting a quick mental snapshot of that person in case you need it later. And
so I imagine keyless entry for the car is a good thing.
Keyless entry is good. It also has a little alarm button on it if you need it to draw attention to yourself. You know, and again, get in your car as quickly as you can, lock your doors, and then you can organize your purse, you can organize your bags and stuff.
So yeah, you need to get in the car as quickly as possible. I think I read somewhere once where if you think you're going to be abducted, do not get in your car, or like run or do something. But or if somebody's trying to get you in the car with them, the last thing you want to do is get in the car with them. Is that correct?
That's what I've heard statistically is your chances of survival diminish from going to point A to point B. So you want to do all you can before you get into the car. Again, most times that's not going to happen. They're just wanting to get your purse, your wallet, your keys, and then end that contact. And that's what we say. Just give them what they're asking for, let them take off, and end that contact as quickly as you can and as safely as you can.
Does it help to be, or at least to look more assertive? Like you said, make eye contact, maybe talk to them first, stand up straight, you know, look like you're not, you know, don't look like a victim.
Right, don't look like you're afraid. And again, being assertive is good. I mean, not overbearing, not in a bad way, just be assertive. Straighten yourself up and say, you're not going to get me today, you know, in your mind. That's what you want to portray. I'm stronger than you today. Okay, let's say you're an elderly female, you're by yourself, you have a walker, and you see someone that's trying to approach. You know, you're slowly headed to your car. You know where your car is. You can see it.
what should you do if you see somebody starting to approach you? Should you like turn around and go back in the store, or?
Well, you certainly can. You can change directions. Just, you know, act like you may have forgotten something and then go back towards the store. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The other thing you can do is, even before you get to that point, ask someone from the store to walk you to your car. See if they have a security person that's there at the store, and ask them to walk you to your car, or at least if they would step out and watch you to your car. You know, most stores won't mind doing that at all.
Especially around the holidays, because they have more security usually, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
So utilize, that's a resource that's available within the stores that a lot of people don't realize.
Okay, a lot of the seniors move slow. They're out shopping. They take more time when they're shopping because they have more time. They're not rushing to get back to a job or whatever. And what happens, or what should they do if they see someone, they're in a store and they see someone pick up something and shove it in their purse, or, you know, try to, you know, walk away with something? What steps should they take?
Well, just go contact someone, a store employee, and be a good witness to that. You know, give a description of the person, where they were, what they took, and just, again, contact that store employee, then let them take their protocol into action from there. But be a good witness. And being a good witness, something that you want to think about in noticing of people are shoes, of all things. People will change shirts, they'll change pants, but they rarely change the shoes.
Takes too long.
Takes too long, and you can wear multiple pairs of shirts and pants, but you can wear one set of shoes. So we've caught a lot of people, you know, just based on shoes.
That's interesting. I never thought of doing that. So that's a good thing. Let's say a senior drives up to get gas, and you know, is that a place of concern for people, or is it not a problem to get gas?
No, the gas stations, you know, there's could be people hanging around, and because of the convenience store feature, and that legitimizes people because they are there for a legitimate purpose mostly. Anytime you get gas, again, seniors or not, lock your car doors. At least the passenger side doors, make sure they're locked, and just get gas as quickly as you can. You know, pay at the pump with a credit card is a good thing. Again, you just want to minimize the time that you're out of your vehicle, minimize the time of exposure like that. If you have a purse, put it down on a floorboard, not just in the seat. It makes it a little bit harder for someone to reach in and grab it. Okay, yeah, and I imagine, well, most cars now, if you're driving them, the doors are locked. Most cars. So if you're at a stoplight, chances are somebody is not going to be able to get in or anything. Right. But at a gas station, I know I always, I do this for a reason, I always take my keys with me as I'm getting out to pump the gas. Usually because if I left them in the car, I would shut the door and then I'd probably lock myself out. Absolutely, I know that feeling. And those are very embarrassing phone calls to have to make home to my husband. And then he never lets me forget about it. That's right. So it's always a good thing to have your keys. Plus, I know that as a self-defense, you can actually use your keys. If somebody got really close to you, if you hold them right in your hand and have the key like sticking out between your fingers, you can actually use that as a defensive method too. Is that correct? That is correct. If you had to, and if someone were able to get that close, then you certainly could. But it's, you know, we talk a lot about weapons with different groups, and people want to initially go out and get guns and all that. But you know, for me, when I talk safety, I talk about weapons as specifically as anything that we have readily available to us. Set of keys is a great example. Our shoes are a great weapon because you can, you know, kick somebody or scrape their shin or something like that. What do you have in your purse that you could use as a weapon? You can use the purse as a weapon. Purse. Most of us have pretty heavy purses. Yeah, so. 5-10 pounds easily, right? Exactly, yeah. Small suitcases almost. And a lot of times we have something in there that probably if you hit someone across the head with it, it might actually, you know. At least catch them off, you know, it'll catch them off guard and then give you a chance to get away, that type thing. But you know, always take your keys out of your car, especially at the gas station. Anytime you're just pulling up real quickly at the store, take your keys with you just to minimize the chance of becoming that victim of a stolen auto or you know, your car driving off without you. We don't want that to happen.
Another very embarrassing phone call to the
yes.
to the spouse and everything.
Absolutely.
With cell phones now, I imagine that the police department gets a lot of 911 calls from people because now we have cell phones. You don't have to run to a payphone or anything.
Right.
My question is, is the police department capable of tracking a cell phone that's made a 911 call for like location? Because, you know, sometimes somebody sees something, they don't actually, maybe they're in the car and they don't actually know where they are specifically, like what intersection or anything. Can the police department track that through the cell phone, or is that technology that's not quite available?
Well, the technology's there. It depends on the phone itself. There's different versions of phones or different generations of phones. The older generations don't have that GPS component. The newer generation does. And that is one of the problems with cell phones is people will call in, they're not quite sure where they're at, but I mean, we can triangulate with the towers that it's bouncing off of, but it's not as accurate as if someone were to say, you know, I'm at the corner of Queens and Queens. So,
but that in itself could be confusing.
That could be very
right?
confusing, absolutely. Queens east, west, south.
Exactly,
you know.
exactly, especially in Charlotte.
You know, so always just try and know where you're at as best you can, even if it's a block away, the closest street. That at least gives us a good starting point. But again, back to the technology. The technology is there, depending upon the phone.
Okay, now, and the other part of that too is if someone calls 911 and it's maybe like a hoax or something like that, you can possibly track that too, or track down these people that are doing that and taking up the time of the police department and everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's mechanisms in place our investigators have and tools that they use to do that. Obviously not on an everyday basis. Luckily it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. We get some misuse of 911 where people are continually calling, and we have had to sign warrants on people for harassing phone calls to the 911 operators. So that does happen, but generally, you know, most people behave out here, and the system works like it's supposed to.
Do you think sometimes those people are just lonely, and it's a way for them to talk to someone or get attention?
Well, sometimes it is that, and sometimes they're just off their medication. You know, when I was on the streets years ago, there was an instance of a woman who was always calling her son in missing, but he had been deceased for several years. And that was when she was off her medication. So, I mean, there are instances like that. And then we try to get them the help and the resources that they need to get back on the medicines, or, you know, get them the assistance.
Now, I noticed a couple months ago during the DNC that there were a lot of bicycle policemen out there. And now, is that something that's going to stay in Charlotte, where you're going to have a lot of officers on bicycles, or was that just something for the DNC?
I think the numbers increased for DNC, but we've always had bicycles on patrol for many, many years. And it's a great tool out here. It's just another one of our tools that we utilize other than police cars, because it gets the officers in places that cars can't go, and in some cases they can get there faster, especially in the uptown area. When traffic gets backed up, they can get through the traffic pretty easily. So that's another tool that we do utilize quite heavily and rely upon.
And I imagine if you're trying to chase down a suspect, it's a lot quicker to do it on a bicycle than it is to try to run and do it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Now, what about motorcycles? Are there a lot of motorcycles in the police department too?
We do have a motorcycle unit still. We've had that for many years as well. And I mean, of course, everything we did for DNC a couple months ago was beefed up. You know, it's almost just exponentially greater than it is normally. But we do have the resources that are still here and available. The motorcycles, the bikes, we have the officers on the lakes patrolling the lakes, in the boats, the helicopters. So the only thing we don't have is the horses. I believe we had horses down here from DC or something during the DNC, so that was kind of neat.
Except you have to clean up after them.
Absolutely.
Unless they have the, I know in New York City the horses have special things on them.
Oh, they got a little baggie or something on the
back. so it's not as difficult to clean up and everything.
Right.
Let's go back to seniors and safety around the holidays, and let's talk about home safety. What are some of the things that they can do to, let's say you've got a senior woman, she's a widow, she lives alone, and it's around the holidays. Is there anything that she needs to be specifically aware of, or things that she needs to do that maybe she wouldn't do ordinarily?
No, you want to maintain the same habits that you have throughout the year, because that's what you're going to rely upon and go back to, are your same habits. So, first thing is I like to have an alarm system. We don't recommend any specific one, but even just a basic alarm system is an early warning system if someone is trying to get into your house while you're there. And then if they're trying to get in, then you could be trying to get out the opposite direction. So an alarm system is good. Just if they do opt for alarm system, make sure they register it and then know how to use it properly. The other thing is, you look at your lighting around your house. What type of lights do you have? Are they on timers or the dusk to dawn type lighting, so that conserves energy? And is it well lit all the way around, especially in the driveway when they're pulling up or whatnot? Everybody likes bright lights. Most people don't want to come into a dark house or a dark driveway.
Right.
So that's always a good thing. Look around the exterior of the house. Are there things blocking someone to view your house from the street? Can your neighbors see your house? Because that's who's ultimately watching your house, are your neighbors. At least I hope they are, because the old nosy neighbor is a good neighbor.
Yeah.
And again, when you're coming and going, just make sure that you don't have the routine, like every morning at 6 you're coming out and getting the newspaper. Kind of vary it a little bit, just in case someone is watching. They're probably not, but we just to be on the safe side.
What about I don't know, some of the seniors, a lot of them get their yards done and everything, but sometimes the shrubbery around the house gets kind of high, and that's really something where they need to keep it low so people can't hide behind that, right? Especially by the front door and everything. That's
correct. We try and take away the hidey holes, as we call them. And with the shrubbery, we utilize a rule within some teachings that I do, is nothing over 3 feet for shrubs, and then nothing below 7 feet for trees. So that gives a nice little gap in there for someone not to be able to hide. But it doesn't always apply in every situation, but it's just a kind of good rule of thumb. But you don't want to make it easy for someone to be hiding around the house or break into the house. Right. So the other rule I tell people is make them work harder and make them bring their own tools. So you want to slow them down on their entry if they're trying to get in. That's the deadbolt locks.
Deadbolts, okay.
The alarm system may be a good deterrent for some. Just anything you can do to slow them down. And then walk around your house. Do you have landscape rocks? Do you have bricks laying around that could be used to break out a window or something? Or are there ladders laying around where they could go into the second story? And that's what I mean by make them bring their own tools.
Exactly. Does it help to have a dog?
If you're willing to take care of a dog.
Well, have there ever been any studies that show that burglars won't go into a house where there's a barking dog, or do they just come with meat, drugged meat or something?
Right. I don't know about any studies. It may deter some, but others they may still try. If somebody wants to get into the house badly enough, they're going to. We just want to slow them down, try and detect them, and then try to get them arrested. If you don't want to get a dog, just get a dog bowl and a big bone.
Or they could have a tape, or a CD that they can put in that, the dog barks every 10 minutes or something.
That's right. Put it on a timer.
Yeah, that's a lot less expensive than
Absolutely.
Food and everything.
Yep.
And I wonder if it even matters, how big the dog is. I imagine the small yippy dogs are probably, if it is a deterrent, I have no idea if that would work or not, or if it's like a dog that's got a big, if it makes it sound big. I used to have a Husky Shepherd mix, and nobody bothered us with her around. She was a sweet dog, but you know, she just looked like a wolf, and so
right.
you know, nobody messed with us. So.
Like, you know, for some it works, for others it may not. But you know, I wouldn't run out just to get a dog.
Okay.
Unless you're wanting to save one from the shelter or something.
Right, right, and yeah, and I encourage everyone to do that. Is there any kind of like a safety guide or anything that the police department has that you know that we can hand out to seniors? Or
absolutely, I actually brought one here for show and tell.
Okay, great.
This is a safety guide that we put together several years ago, and it's kind of A to Z, and they are available through the police department. You can call 336-2310, area code 704, of course, and leave a message on our voicemail, and we'll get back to you and make sure we get some of those to you. We also have a website for those that are web savvy, and that's at www.cmpd.org. I feel like I'm a telemarketer now. You know, and you can request some through that website as well. There's some information there how to get them on our website.
Super, super, yeah. And
so it's a good guide.
And Officer Allen has also told me that he will also have some available for us to have at the Shepherd Center too. So
absolutely.
I'd like to thank you for coming out today and talking to us and getting the seniors all set for the big holiday season and everything. And next month we are going to have Josh Rimini, a pharmacist, with us talking about immunizations and drug interactions and all of that thing, you know, things that seniors need to know about. Especially if you're taking a lot of different kinds of drugs and everything. The Shepherd Center, of course, is there for you. You can reach us at 704-365-1995. Go to our website. This show will also be, there will be a link on our website for this show if you want to recommend it to other people. Our website is www.shepherdscharlotte.org. You know, we have a lot of programs and services for seniors, including our educational program and our computer program and things like that. So, you know, please give us a call, go to our website, check us out the second Monday of every month at 8:30, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you and happy Thanksgiving.